This week we're going to highlight the historic price volatility observed in soybean futures when the USDA releases the prospective plantings and grain stocks reports. We're also going to take a look at the temperature and precept trends for Rio Grande do Sul, which is the state in far southern Brazil where they're still harvesting beans. Then we're going to focus on U.S. export sales, which continue to face strong competition from Brazil. And we're going to wrap things up with a long-term review of November Soybean Futures. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the soybean market. We moved into the last week of March here, and that means it's time for the USDA prospective plantings and grain stocks reports. What we want to do is take a moment to look at the historical price reaction to those reports. At the moment, looking at old and new crop soybean futures. Let's take a look at that chart. We looked at this last week, but it bears repeating. Again, this is the price reaction of old crop SK and new crop SX soybean futures on the date that those reports are released. Now notice over time there's been years where we've seen prices increase quite a bit. There have been years where we've seen prices decrease quite a bit. And there have been some years we haven't seen much price change. But here's the key message. Given that we have seen increased price volatility on many of those years, we strongly encourage you to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to have your risk management positions in place prior to the release of these reports on Monday, March 31st. Let's shift gears now to South America, where they're still harvesting beans in Brazil. Let's take a look at where those beans are produced in Brazil. Now again, harvest is winding down, but here's the key message we continue to highlight. USDA is forecasting a 10% increase in Brazil's production for this year to a record crop. Let's take a look at soybean crop progress here. Of course, we're in harvest now. Many of those states have completed harvest or near completion. The one exception we've highlighted this week is Rio Grande do Sul in the far south. It's only about less than 20% harvested. So weather can still have an impact in terms of final production totals in that state. With that in mind, let's take a look at the short-term weather trends. Our slides this week, as usual, are courtesy of T-Storm Weather. Again, we're focusing on Rio Grande do Sul in the far south because harvest is ongoing. It looks like it's going to be a little warm down there in Rio Grande do Sul. Now that's been a continuation of the trend that emerged in January and February. And that's resulted in some poor soybean yields in that state. And perhaps the USDA might make an adjustment in its April supply-demand report. Let's take a look at precept now for the next 10 to 14 days. Actually, it might be a little bit wet down there in Rio Grande do Sul, but it's too late for the crop. In fact, if it rains too much as harvest proceeds, it may hamper harvest. Let's now look at total precip over the next 10 to 14 days, again focusing on Rio Grande do Sul. Could be a little wet down there. We'll keep an eye on that as we move into the month of April here to see if there's any harvest issues. Let's shift gears now and focus on export trends in the U.S. Let's take a look at the unshipped export sales of U.S. beans. Now as we look at the mid-March totals here, we're looking at a total that's above last year but well below some of those previous years. Now we're going to zero in here on China. Looking at China as about 45 million bushels on the books, a little more than last year, but again going back 6, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, well below those levels. Here's the key message. As we're looking at unshipped export sales, keep in mind that even though Brazil's soybean export program has been quite aggressive, month-to-date exports total 342 million bushel. The export lineup in Brazil is still 30 million bushels larger than last year. That means that March exports from Brazil are expected to reach 533 million bushel. That's 40 million bushel or 8% more than 2024. Bottom line, China may still take all the U.S. beans that it has bought, but Brazil supplies from their record crop are more than ample. Let's wrap things up now looking at trends in November beans. November beans, as we tape here on Tuesday, are trading near $10.05 a bushel. Notice that the projected crop insurance spring base price for 2025 is $10.54. But look at that potential price volatility between February and October in those yellow highlighted bars. That's why we strongly encourage you to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to manage this price volatility. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 800-664-2321. We'll put you in contact with one of our risk management consultants who'll be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we upload every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss an upload. And make sure to join our ATI Pro Media team shortly before 11 a.m. on Monday, March 31st, for a live update regarding the USDA reports. Then we'll follow that up at 1:30 p.m. with a detailed market analysis. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.